be going over my flight to the Bahamas assignment for Aviation 315 Commercial Ground. So just to reiterate the scenario, hurricane has devastated the Bahamas around Spring Point Airport, and a humanitarian agency has uh, given me a Cessna Caravan to fly humanitarian cargo for them. And it's my job to plan out the flight, including airports, fuel loads, routes, and how much cargo can be carried. So first of all, there's some requirements to fly in the Bahamas. AOPA puts out a very helpful article for this. So as the pilot in command, I need a passport, a pilot certificate with an English endorsement, at least a second-class medical, a restricted radio telephone operator's permit, and a letter of authorization since the aircraft isn't in my personal name. And then for passengers flying with me, so like the humanitarian worker will need a passport. The aircraft itself needs an airworthiness certificate, registration, a radio station license, a life vest for each occupant, an ID data plate, 12-inch registration marks, altitude reporting transponder, and an ELT. In addition to all of those, I'll need to file a electronic advanced passenger information system, or EAPIS, report with Customs and Border Patrol, and file an ICAO flight plan, because we will be over international waters. To fly in the Bahamas, we'll need a cruising permit and a tourist card. And then returning to the States, we'll need to turn in both the pass and the card. We'll need to pay a $29 per person tax, file a defense VFR flight plan back into the U.S., call Border Patrol at least an hour before takeoff, file another EAPIS report, make sure airport has a customs facility, which it does, and then passports for both my passenger and I. And the aircraft just needs the standard things that are required in the United States FARs. So my base of operations will be the Florida Keys Marathon International, KMTH. We have one runway, which is 5,008 feet long, which is more than enough for a caravan. There's some various radio frequencies. Our airport elevation is 5 feet MSL, traffic power altitude is 1,005 feet MSL, and aviation fuel is available. Linden Pinley International, MYNN, that's Nassau. That's basically like our refueling stop on the way to Spring Point. There's two runways, the longest of which being 10,925 feet long, the shortest being 8,302, so both more than long enough. There's some various frequencies. Airport elevation is 16 foot MSL, traffic power and altitude is 1,016, and aviation fuel is available. And then finally, our destination airport, Spring Point, MYAP. It's got one runway that's 5,010 feet long, which is easy for our caravan to get in and out of. Unicom 122.8, airport elevation 15, traffic power and altitude 1,015, and aviation fuel is unavailable at this field. So jumping into our first leg, we'll fly from Key West down to Nassau. So we'll go over at 6,500 feet. Our takeoff distance over 50-foot obstacle is 2,630 feet. Climb speed is 115 knots. It'll take 11 minutes to climb. We'll burn 70 pounds of fuel, and we'll cover 22 nautical miles. We will add just an extra 35 pounds of fuel for start, taxi, and takeoff. We'll spend 16 minutes in cruise. We'll cover 160 miles during cruise, and we'll burn 365 pounds of fuel during that time. Our descent will take 7 minutes. We'll burn 31 pounds of fuel during that time. The descent will cover 20 nautical miles, so to get there before the traffic pattern, we'll start descending about 24 nautical miles out. Our ground roll is 1810, which, again, more than enough. Our heading is 84 degrees, and then all our fuel added up, plus the fuel minimums and fudge factor, is 700 pounds of fuel needed for minimum fuel to take off out of Key West. There's just some various charts. I used them on every single leg. Cruise performance, takeoff and landing data, climb data, just stuff like that. Second leg will take us from Nassau down to Spring Point. We'll go down 4,500 feet. The takeoff distance is the same as the last, 2,630. Climb speed is 115 knots. We'll take 7 minutes to climb. We'll burn 48 pounds of fuel. We will take 15 nautical miles to the top of climb, adding that 35 pounds for on the ground. Our cruise speed will be 157 knots. We'll spend 81 minutes in cruise, during which we will cover 214 nautical miles and burn 475 pounds of fuel. Our descent will take 6 minutes. We will burn 30 pounds of fuel during the descent, and we'll start descending about 18 nautical miles out for our destination's traffic pattern. Ground roll is the same, 1,810 to clear a 50-foot obstacle, heading 128. And then our minimum fuel is 1,580 feet because since there's no fuel at Spring Point, we need enough fuel in Nassau to get there and back. And then there's just the same charts that I used. The third leg, it will take us from Spring Point back to Nassau, and we will be flying at a little bit of a lighter weight because of the reduced fuel load. And I just use the same charts because that just predicts your worst performance. So if you're lighter, then the performance will probably be better, i.e., short takeoff rolls and shorter landing ground rolls. So if we can make it into an airport with max weight, then we should be able to with a lighter weight as well. Um, so we'll conduct that flight at 5,500 feet. The takeoff distance is the same, 2,630. Climb speed 115 knots. It will take 7 minutes to climb. We'll burn 55 pounds of fuel and cover 16 nautical miles, adding that 35 pounds for the ground. 160 knots will be our cruise speed. We'll spend 81 minutes in cruise, during which we will cover 210 nautical miles and burn 479 pounds of fuel. Our descent will take 7 minutes. 40 pounds of fuel will be burned during the descent, and we'll start descending about 21 nautical miles out. Ground roll is the same, 1,810 feet. Our approximate heading will be 309 feet, and minimum fuel to leave Spring Point will be 790. There's our charts. Then finally, we have our fourth leg, home from Nassau back to Key West. We will do it at an altitude of 5,500 feet. Our short field takeoff distance is 2,630, so the same. Climb speed is 115 knots. It'll take us 9 minutes to climb. We'll burn 60 pounds of fuel during that and cover 20 nautical miles, and adding that 35 extra pounds of fuel for the ground. Our cruise speed will be 155 knots. We'll spend 65 minutes in cruise, during which we will cover 163 nautical miles and burn 355 pounds of fuel. Our descent will be 7 minutes, 35 pounds of fuel will be burned, and we will start descending 22 nautical miles out of the airport. Our ground roll will be 1,810, our heading will be 265 degrees, and our minimum fuel to leave Nassau is 690 pounds. There's the charts. And then our fuel page, so the Cessna 208 Caravan B model can hold 1,124.25 pounds or 167.8 gallons in each tank, which gives us a total of 2,248.5 or 335.6 gallons, with 24.1 pounds or 3.6 gallons of unusable fuel. Throughout the trip, we will use approximately 2,970 pounds of fuel, which comes out to be 443 gallons. And then weight and balance. So going into the island, based off the data, I'm 165 pounds. The humanitarian worker coming with me is 195 pounds. The basic empty weight of the aircraft is 4,680, and the fuel needed to get to the island, which is 790. Fuel from the island, which is also 790, plus just a bit of extra, which is an extra 100 pounds. This comes out to be 6,720 pounds. The max takeoff weight is 8,750, and since the max cargo weight is 4,105, we can carry a total of 2,030 and still be safe. So the cargo will be distributed evenly throughout the back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So Area 1 will have 700 pounds, Area 2 will have 1,000 pounds, and Area 3 will have 330 pounds. And then once we leave the island, the 2,030 pounds of cargo, the one humanitarian worker, and the first half of the fuel are gone, which leaves us with a 5,735 pound aircraft. And if we add the two tourists coming back, then we will go back with a 6,125 pound aircraft. So some other possible factors to consider when going into this is the tropics, so there will be pop-up thunderstorms likely. So just keep an eye for those. And a hurricane just happened, so there will likely be other missions traffic happening. And Since we're over water a lot, just try to always keep land in sight. Any kind of TFRs, any kind of defense areas, and also it's just unfamiliar territory, so just keep your head on a swivel and stay sharp. And then finally, our Christian message. So this whole project just kind of reminded me of the golden rule, which is Matthew 7:12, where it says, "So in everything do unto others what you would have done them do to you." So, I'm not experiencing a natural disaster right now. I'm not, experiencing a crisis, but someone down there is, and I know um, it's Christ-like to go down there and help them, because if I was ever in that scenario, I'd hope that someone else would as well. And that just goes to show how good of a leader Christ was, because a good leader always looks out for each other. He doesn't just neglect them; he always looks out for them and makes sure they're cared for. So we're just called as Christians to act like Christ, and just flying in humanitarian aid is the best way to use my pilot skills to honor God. And finally, here are my references, and thank you so much for watching.